It is officially fantasy playoff season. So if you have any questions about your lineup or you just want a second opinion, I'm here for you. Drop it in the comments. Let's kick off this video with a week 9 recap. Of course, you see if you see a green strip, we got it right. Red strip, we got it wrong. 5-3 last week, 49-21. We're not perfect, but we're pretty good. Let's kick it off here with our weekly defense, and this is a defense that is still on your waiver wire in the Atlanta Falcons. I believe they're only owned in 9% of Yahoo and 11% of ESPN leagues. But the Falcons, they're playing the New Orleans Saints this week. The Saints, they're going to have an interim head coach. How motivated and how good is that group in New Orleans going to play? That is a big question. But in the first matchup that these teams played, Atlanta had 18 fantasy points in the week 4 matchup. It feels like a must-win divisional game to get a bigger lead on this division now that Tampa has kind of fallen out of the race. Derek Carr is back. I'll say that is a con. But outside of that, this is an Atlanta defense that I love. They get a lot of pressures on the quarterback. We just need some sacks there and some turnovers, which Derek Carr is bound to do. We're going to start the Atlanta defense. Let's switch over here to a first-round pick or a second-round pick in our fantasy drafts this year. It is Marvin Harrison Jr., and I am finally at my breaking point. I think this is a guy that, yes, he's uber talented, a guy that is the #1 wide receiver in his offense, but I am at my breaking point in the fact that I'm going to sit him until he's consistently at least average at the wide receiver position. This is a team that's playing the Jets this week. It is the 31st best matchup against wide receivers. This is a guy that has been inconsistent all year, and it's also the last game before bye. We know teams usually come into those games a little lackadaisical. But for Marvin Harrison, again, uber talented. He's playing Sauce Gardner, who hasn't been as locked down this year. It feels like a must-win, but it also feels like a must-sit until he proves us otherwise. Now for TJ Hockenson, it feels like we've had to sit on our hands a long time for this one, but hopefully that wait will be worth it. This is a guy that is now going into his second game back from injury. This is a guy that has a top 10 matchup on his hands in the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a must-win in this stacked NFC North division, and this is a guy that did have 4 targets last week. I'm expecting that, as crazy as it sounds, to maybe double 6 to 8 targets this upcoming week. So the potential is going to be there for Hockenson to have a double-digit week, maybe even a touchdown, because again, he hasn't had one all season, obviously. His only cons is that, again, his target competition around him, the blowout potential maybe, but even then, I think they want to get him on the field, get him his reps in. We're going to start TJ Hockenson. The last guy that I want to highlight is the new Baltimore Raven in Diontae Johnson. Whether if you traded for him or if you had him on your roster in those dark days in Carolina, you now are excited to play a guy like Diontae this upcoming week. However, this is a guy that is in his first game in a new offense. Is he going to be limited because of his knowledge of the playbook? We know DeAndre Hopkins, another uber talented wide receiver, but even he took a week there in Kansas City to get a full workload. So Diontae Johnson in this run-first offense on Thursday Night Football, again, short week. I don't expect him to play much, and if he does, I don't know how involved he's going to be. Just to be safe, we're going to sit him. Let's see what we have first. But that's going to do it here for today's video. In the comments section, I always drop a couple more plays either on Sunday morning or, of course, Saturday night. So be on the lookout for that. Come back to this video. But that's it. If you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions about your lineup, drop them in the comments as well. I'll get back to you as quick as I can.